What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to another Division 2 video. If you happen to be new to the channel, then ground and pound that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on post notifications so that way you know each and every time a new video is uploaded or a stream goes live. The PTS third week has finally come to a conclusion, and then of course we get the title update 3 next week, and then of course the 8-man raid soon after. And when all things title update 3, this build will still be super viable and still super strong, if not even stronger, due to the doubled survivability that we'll have, right? So I'm going to send you over to some little clips first and foremost, and then we'll hop into the build.
It's another one though.
I got it.
No,
Got him.
Yeah, get me real quick.
I can't. There's two. Got both of them.
Okay.
Got both of them.
Oh shit, I'm about to die.
I'm trying. I got you. No, don't reload. Whew. I got both of them.
Ooh.
And
he got
saved
them both.
you.
It was two players.
Going in.
Oh, here they come again.
God.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Dunk.
Oh, Jesus.
So that was just a little taste of what this build can actually do. If you want to see a full gameplay videos, then check out the links in the description below. There is 1 2.5 hour stream of nothing but completely shredding the DZ with this particular build. It was actually quite lit, and it was just like last night and the night before last. And also there is like a montage clip of a couple days prior, and that is also a full-length gameplay vid utilizing this build, so check out those links. But let's hop into the build itself. Starting with the weapons. First, we have the Black Market M60E6. I consider this my up-close and personal weapon of choice. 36.6k base damage with unhinged, Allegro, and transmission. In the mod slots, we have 10% accuracy, rate of fire, 7% critical hit chance, and 10% accuracy. Now for my mid-range gunfights, my go-to is the Tactical M249 Para at 30.3k with unhinged, Allegro, and double duty. In the mod slots, we have accuracy, rate of fire, that 7% critical hit chance, and a little more stability. But it's basically fielder's choice and whatever your personal preference is, whether you want to run dual LMGs like I have it, or you can run an LMG Chatterbox, LMG Lullaby, Sweet Dreams. It all depends on your personal preference, and so it's fielder's choice. So now let's hop into the build itself. Starting with the main component of this build, which is the 2-piece True Patriot, which gives you 10% damage to armor. And then of course in the attributes we have 10% critical hit chance, 3016 health. And also keep in mind with that update, people's health pools and armor pools are going to be increased drastically. So that increased extra damage to armor, which is multiplicative damage, is going to really come in nice and handy. Now on the second piece, True Patriot, we have 8.5% crit chance, and then in the defensive mod slot, 3083 health, 10% skill health, and 984 armor on kill. Now on to the chest piece. One Ghillie Guard gives you 5% total armor. The attributes are 9664 bonus armor, 6% weapon damage, and then 11% critical hit chance. And we are using Unstoppable Force. Killing an enemy grants 2% weapon damage for every 10,000 max armor. That is actually going to change just a little bit, but still will be definitely viable, and that is why instead of just having the 7 defensive blue Legos, I actually have the 8 just in case, and also it can be tweaked to your personal preference and either go up and down depending on the final results of the PTS. So no matter which way you do it, it is actually going to be completely viable, shred, and have tons more survivability once this update hits. But in the mod slots, we have Defensive Protocol Stamina, 3390 health, 6% health regen, 629 armor regen. In the other defensive mod slot, we have 3011 bonus armor, 3% total armor, 5% health regen. And then an offensive mod with 1.5% weapon damage, and then 3% LMG damage for a total of 4.5% weapon damage going to LMGs. Now on to the holster. It is an R&K holster, just the 10% hazard protection we get for having one. And then of course in the attributes, 13% critical hit chance. Then of course, devastating plus 5% weapon damage. Now, if you wanted to and didn't mind losing that 5% weapon damage, you probably could go for the likes of Filler Up, so that way you can utilize the sawed-off sidearm shotgun, so that way you can practically never run out of ammo. So that way all you have to do is switch to your sidearm, go through the animation, and then presto, both LMGs are completely reloaded. But, you know, if you don't mind, like I do, as far as running the double LMGs, because there's always a break or a moment in the action, so that way you're able to reload. And plus you have 200 rounds, so as long as you pick your shots and don't go like crazy Rambo style on somebody, just, you know, wailing off bullets, firing in anger pretty much, then you should be just fine with all those rounds. But also, like I said, if you want to substitute devastating for the likes of Filler Up, then by all means, tweak it as you see fit to your personal preference. Now on to the gloves. Murakami gloves, for having one piece, you get 8% health. And the attributes, 1172 health. I wish that health was a little bit more of a health pool than just 1100. But beggars can't be choosers. It was good just to get that extra defensive Lego to throw in the, I guess the... what would you call them? Yeah, the Lego loot pool, I guess you should say. And then 7% LMG damage, and then of course another devastating 5% for a total of 12% damage just for this one piece going to the LMGs. Now on to the backpack. This is where I want to tweak it a little. This is not the necessarily the greatest, because I'm unable to utilize Safeguard because it requires 5 or less offensive Legos, and I'm currently at 9. But if I could get one with like probably efficient on it, then I would prefer like efficient and hardened here. And if you don't know what efficient is, as you can see on the bottom of your screen, using an armor kit has a 50% chance to not consume the armor kit. And the reason why this comes in handy is because when using the Demolitionist Specialist, when you use a med kit, for a few seconds afterwards, you gain 100% weapon stability. So that way you can use more armor kits and not necessarily, you know, waste them just to get that 100% weapon handling, but can come in completely clutch in those situations where you need to completely beam those that are pushing in on you. So that way, you know, you not only save ammo, but you also save armor kits by utilizing efficient. But in this case, we do have a talent that's we cannot use, but the other one, hardened, and of course the attributes, cooldown reduction, 8274 bonus armor, 5% weapon damage, and then 3702 in health. But that basically sums it up. And you don't necessarily have to use LMGs. You can substitute probably just one piece and then put in a Fenris A and B group if you want to run this particular build with ARs. Or basically, you know, any piece that you prefer, whether it be a Sokolov chest piece or anything along those lines, to basically conform it to whatever weapon of choice. But since, you know, LMGs are so strong and they practically aren't getting touched whatsoever, so when you put that along with the multiplicative 10% armor to damage, and then with the upcoming update, it's still going to absolutely shred. So definitely, if you haven't tried out this particular build utilizing the 2-piece True Patriot along with this enormous amount of crit chance, then I recommend do so. But let's hop on over to our character stat sheet before I forget. But we have 49.5% critical hit chance, 25% crit hit damage, 65% headshot damage, the negative 35% weapon handling, which is easily manageable, 48% all weapon damage bonus, and then of course 39% LMG damage bonus for a whopping total of 87% weapon damage. And of course, as you see, we got the 10% armor damage, and then the rest as followed. 10% hazard protection. We're not really utilizing any skill, so we have 4% skill cooldown. But also, if you want to substitute your gloves, let's say you do need a little bit more handling, right? I also have these Yaw Gear gloves that'll give you 10% weapon handling, and then of course, you know, my health pool does go up a little bit, and then my armor goes down just a couple thousand, but then, you know, basically I'm losing 2%, you know, weapon damage, but yet my attributes stay the same at 981, so it is still very much viable. Come the update, when I update this build and my health pool is really I guess beefed up, then I will be switching it up slightly. As you can see, I do have some Alp Summit gloves with clutch with 10% LMG damage. So that way, when I do find the right backpack, I can mix it up and then raise my crit chance even higher. But if I wanted to use these gloves now, I very much could so. It would just drop my defensive Legos to 7 instead of 8, but then I would gain an additional crit chance by the way of mod slot. So it just depends on how you want to play it. If I really want to be a troll in the dark zone, and you know, just if they continue to run away and don't necessarily want to fight, and in especially NPCs, it helps out too, because they're always, you know, ducking and hiding behind boxes, and you know, they'll pop up and you'll be able to shoot them once and they'll just pop right back down. Then I can put on these Alp Summit gloves that utilize kneecapped. Shooting an enemy in the legs has a 10% chance to apply bleed. And of course, it has 10% LMG damage. And then of course, in the mod slot, I got a utility mod that gives me additional 3% bleed damage. So it does come in quite handy. So the sky's the limit. It just depends on the certain situation. I don't necessarily run the same gloves every single time. If I, you know, just want to mix it up and try, you know, out different things, then as you see, I have different multiple ways of pretty much running this build, and the damage practically stays absolutely the same. It's just a matter of what you want to do, whether you feel like, you know, trolling a little bit, applying a little more extra damage, because that bleed does come in handy, because it not only, you know, gets a little tick of especially taking down their health, but also kind of disrupts their screen and makes it like a little blurry and have those little red and black marks all the way around it and disorients the character, so it makes it a little bit harder for them to aim likewise. So, you know, it has its effects. It just depends on what you want to do. But once again, definitely try it out. I'm going to stop rambling. I hope you guys enjoy it. When it comes to the skills or whatnot, usually I use Chem Launcher, and it just depends on your personal preference on the second skill, what you want to use. But like I said, just try it out. It is a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. Get out there and shred some NPCs and some players, and have a awesome, great afternoon. We'll see you fudging later.